Season 6, episode 4. April, we've had these conversations. I've definitely had these conversations with my wife, and different creatives. And we're in a creative world. If you're listening to this podcast, you're entering a creative world. You've been in it for years. You're everything in between, whatever it is. What's fascinating to me is that there's different flavors of creative people. There's not one highway of a certain type of creative. There's many roads of creativity. And it fascinates me. Like with my wife, Jennifer, she's a creative person, uh, but in a completely different way than I am. April, I would consider you a very creative person, but in a completely different way than I am. And, movie directors and actors and musicians and music producers and authors and all this stuff, all these are creative people, but in completely different veins between one another and of us. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, just understanding that there's all kinds of different ways of being creative. So what are your thoughts on that?
First of all, I appreciate that there's different ways of being creative. And for me personally, because I am a believer, I believe that we all can be creative because the creator is so creative and there's so much depth in his creativity. So, of course, we're made, I believe we're made in his image. So, us collectively represent all what's in him. So, of course, to get a good representation of that, every single one of us has a unique way of being creative, and I think that is what makes us so beautiful as humans, that we all get to show up in our own different ways of being creative and add value to the world that we live in.
Yeah, I love that. When you talked about the depth of his creation and his creativity, I find comfort in that because in 2025 and after the pandemic in 2020, there was a ton of new content creators doing this thing full time. A lot of people jumped over to that. A lot of people are building these podcasts, and a lot of people are building their brands and content, all this stuff. But there's so much depth there that we all can bring value and all kind of share into this big giant content world because the depth is there. We all bring unique diversity. I'm going to use your word diversity into this content creation world. And because we all have different experiences, we all are going to react to the same experience differently. Um, because we're all different people and our story is all different. Um, so I mean, there's things that we have in relation, like we can relate to one another, but we're also different people. So I mean, you're a Yankee and I'm a Southerner. You know what I'm saying?
Emma,
New Jersey, that's, I mean, you probably fully converted or at least 80%. I don't know. I don't know what you would call yourself now, but
I
like,
actually don't claim you. I'm sorry, family. If my family is listening, I'm so sorry. No
oh, I got you in
disrespect.
trouble.
No disrespect. I literally never even mention I'm from New Jersey when people say, "Where are you from?" Like 100% of the time, I'm not gonna say New Jersey. So thanks, Mitchell, for just letting the whole world know that I'm originally from New Jersey. I tried to keep it under wraps, but clearly now it's out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, here we are.
So kind of getting off the creative conversation, which by the way is a great conversation. Maybe we need to have an episode or a season
I
about
think
that.
so for sure.
But so I'm from Kentucky. I lived in Oklahoma for over 14 years, and now I'm back in Kentucky. And when I lived in Oklahoma, everyone, and I lived in Tulsa, it's a big city, it's a bigger city, not the biggest, but a bigger city. Everyone picked up on my country accent. Everybody did. And I think I lost a lot of it because what's funny is when I lived in Oklahoma, everyone said something about my accent. When I come back, everyone says I don't have an accent. But if you talk to the people in Oklahoma today, they would say I still have an accent. So it's I can't win for losing, I guess. But when I mean you have a very like neutral accent. I don't think it doesn't sound like you're from New Jersey. I don't even know if I would know a New Jerseyan accent. Maybe not. I don't know because it's not a New York accent, which New
Right.
York has a ton of accents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the Midwest is more of a neutral accent. There is, especially in the like the cities, you don't really hear an accent. It's very neutral.
Yeah.
But in the South, clearly, and the South has a different accent than like the Carolinas. There's a different Carolinian accent.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah. So what do you think I have an accent? Do you think I sound like a big old country bumpkin?
Depends on the words that you're saying.
Yeah, that's
Certain
true.
words, I feel
That's
like you
very true.
lean more, but other than that,
Give me a word I say that's super country.
super, you just said it. Super.
Super?
Yeah, just
Oh,
sounds weird.
I'm saying that weird.
Country.
Okay. I think you just picked a word. I don't think you can think of a word right now because I don't say anything super. No, I'm kidding. Here, I'll give you one, and then we'll get into into what we're going to be talking about. So I have a really hard time saying wash correctly.
Oh, I already know. I know
Did
where
I
this is
say it right just
going.
then?
You said it right, but to say it wrong is so wrong.
I say it
Like,
pretty bad. It's pretty thick. If I'm
mm,
not thinking about it, it's wash. It's wash.
oh my
Yeah, it's
word.
pretty rough. Does that make you cringe a little bit? A little bit?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's bad. That's
Yeah. I
bad.
don't even know what I'm saying. Another one real quick is guitar. I can't
Mm.
say it. You say the word.
Guitar?
Guitar. Okay. I think that's the most correct way to say it, guitar.
What do you
But I
say?
guitar. like I
Get.
send it yeah,
Guitar.
guitar. Guitar. You
Guitar.
gotta get up and go guitar. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
wild. Wild, bro. I don't know if we can be friends after this episode. I'm just saying. So let's just record the
I
episode and then
kind of understand.
I'll
I'm
evaluate our friendship.
I'm not even mad at you because I mean I love my country roots. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like, come on, like that's not even close how you say that word.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I love how we're talking about earlier just this being creative, how people show up. Basically, what I heard was people show up differently, right? But whether we're showing up differently in the ways that we're creative, in the ways that we pronounce words, personality, whatever the case is. But what I love is that we all show up differently to make a difference,
Mm,
right? Because how I show up is going to connect with people, and how you show up is going to connect with people. How your wife Jennifer shows up is going to connect with people. But it's all like if we all show up who we are differently and make a difference, then what happens? More people are impacted. And that's really what it's all about. And when we think about leading out loud with our media, at the end of the day, the impact that we make is making a difference in the lives of people, and it's leaving a legacy. So we started off this series about leading with vision, and I would love to just go full circle here and say, all right, now that I'm doing all these things, now I'm positioned to lead with legacy. Like, I want to make sure I'm leading so that it's actually making a difference in the lives of someone else. And so now, yes, I want to be visible. So that visibility gets me, yes, it may get me attention, but that's so surface level. Like the visibility gets me attention, but now I can make an impact that's going to change lives, because not all visibility is going to lead to influence. Let's just say, right? Sometimes attention isn't doesn't always lead it to the right place, right? You could have a video that has a high amount of views, but it has low trust. Like watching that video, a million people saw it, but no, your trust level hasn't increased, right?
yeah.
Or you can have a video that goes viral. No shade if your video went viral, but there are some videos that go viral that added no value to my life. It was
Yeah.
just somebody being a whole situation and it went viral. But it's like, where's the value add in that? And, as entrepreneurs, I want us to think about, man, how can I lead with legacy? That means, yes, I'm being visible, but man, I want to make this impact that's going to make a difference in someone's life.
Yeah, that's really really good. On kind of connecting these two thoughts about being creative and different creatives and having legacy and leading with legacy and connecting people and to have a legacy. It's again, it's just kind of jump on that thought again. Like it's comforting. Like I know that sometimes it just seems like it's in a certain space maybe that you're in that you feel like the box is already checked. Well, there's going to be pockets and maybe bigger than a pocket of that market that isn't tapped yet, and you're going to bring a voice that is fresh, is just different. Your personality is different, the way you talk, the accent that you have, whatever it is. I mean, I have a friend actually that I was surprised with their following on a certain platform, and she reads books and she sounds like a giant hillbilly when she's reading like poems and like doing whatever. But it's how it's the warmth, or it's the sound, or it's whatever it is, that's connecting to a large group of people, so you have no idea, and you won't know until you put it out there, until for listen to our previous podcast about preparing and practicing and all the stuff, so that you can have a legacy by getting out there and using the tools that you have on your tool belt to get going.
We have to start asking ourselves a different question. It shouldn't be, okay, based on this content, based on what I'm putting out, what are things that I did or what did I accomplish? It's more so like, who have I helped or how did I help them grow? And I want people, when they consume our content, to say, okay, because of this content, I believe this, or I tried this, or I changed this. We want them to say, man, because of what you put out there, my life has changed. The solution has changed my life. This has added value to me. I think differently. I might buy products differently. Whatever the case may be, whatever your industry is, whatever industry you're in, at the end of the day, a legacy really is, it equals a life changed at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking you can't start this without starting. I mean, don't you have to get over the fear? It's funny. The first step, the first hurdle that you jump over can be so many things. It could be the fear. Maybe it's you're running 90 miles a minute and it's hard to focus. It's hard to get a message down. And I don't know, maybe you're somewhere in between, but I mean, and that's something that We Dream Media can help with. What one thing that I wanted to talk about in this whole thing is what's important to me when we help clients is, okay, we're all creative and all these things. It's more important for me to get the point on the scoreboard, for us to get the ball across the goal line. That's the main thing for me. If I say something that isn't the idea that we land on, that's okay, as long as we get the ball over the goal. Now, if I say something that gets down the field a little bit, that helps build an idea, that's awesome. But and and this kind of leads to really what I want to talk about is, yeah, We Dream Media can help you with this, but community, connecting to people, help building a community and connection that can, other people struggle with the same thing, get in but get going, get started, so that you can start putting the points on the board, but do it with other people, like whether find an influencer or find someone that has a similar story, that whatever it is, or jump into a community, whatever, but get going and try to figure out what that hurdle is, but attack it, and then get started.
Yeah. No, that's so good. And it's almost like you have to think about, how can I use my platform to really equip, mentor, pour into other people, lead them. We talked about thought leadership, leading them to something that's going to add value to their lives. Because if we have that mindset, then everything we're doing is going to be meaningful. Everything we do is going to have purpose. Everything we do, we're going to recognize it's like watering a seed, right? Like, people are looking for these different solutions in their lives, and they might find they've got some idea. There's a seed there. They know they are looking for some sort of change, some sort of solution. Like, it's there, right? And now they come across your content, and what it's going to do is going to help that seed grow. It's going to water that seed. It's going to till that ground, do all the things so that person's life could be more fruitful. And this is any industry that you're in. We have you have a solution to someone's problem. And the fact that they know a solution is out there is their seed, and they're looking for the water. They're like, I know I have this issue. I know there's a product. I know there's a service out there for me. Now I'm searching for it. Now you're visible, positioning yourself to water that seed to help them have that transformation in their lives.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, again, like we have a story, we have something to tell, we have something to help people, and it might be hard to start. Believe me, it was hard for me to tie my horse to your wagon. You know what I'm saying? Because it's scary. It's, what am I gonna say? I sound like a big old hillbilly redneck. Whatever. Um,
That washes stuff.
the Warsha stuff, right? That plays guitars. But yeah, I mean, you have to get going. You have to, my thing was, not thinking that I had anything really worth saying, that anyone would be interested in what I'm saying. But there are people interested because they're in a similar boat. In a previous podcast, we talked about, the experts had years of experience. Well, in 2025, people are sharing their story where they're at in the moment, and of their growth and how they're growing today, and people are interested in that. So we all have a story, and we all have to get going.
Yeah, I love it. What can you do today to start? I would suggest number one, revisiting your mission statement. Is that reflected in your media? Because like that's this really you're asking yourself the question, what kind of mark do I want to leave? What kind of mark do I want my business to leave? And not necessarily meaning you have to like die. I'm not trying to be like morbid, but legacy doesn't always
Yeah.
have to be because you expired. Maybe that's a
Right.
better
Right.
word,
Right. Right.
right? Maybe you build this business and then you end up selling the business, or gifting the business to your passing the business down to your kids, or whatever it is. The moment that you step outside of leadership in that business, what kind of mark is made? What kind of continual difference is that business making? And that's what we have to think about long term, because it can't be about you. It has to be about the mission and what you want to accomplish and the solution that you want to bring in the world. So I would say number one, revisit that mission. Number two, I would say make sure your content aligns with that vision. Are you leading people with your vision in mind, with your core values in mind, with the solution in mind? Everything done with intention. Like making sure your content is aligned with all of this with intention. And then the last thing I'll say, you want to make sure that you're bringing people along with you. I think that's the number one mistake that we make when we talk about leaving legacy. It always involves other people. So who are you? All the stuff that you're putting out in media, are you showing someone else how to do that? Right? Because at the end of the day, you want your mark to outlast you. And if we don't pour into who's coming up behind us, we're going to be at a disadvantage. Maybe you're a CEO in your org chart. Who is that person right underneath you? Pour into them. Maybe you're a solopreneur, but maybe you know someone who's an up and coming entrepreneur and you just want to pour into them. We always need to be pouring into someone and having someone pour into us, and that's how legacy is created.
So when it comes to leaving a legacy, you know, yeah, maybe expiring, maybe giving the family business someone else or whatever. But maybe it's a pivot. Maybe it's a direction change within the business. There could be all different things, but you hit something too. I talked about being in the community, and I truly believe we're better with people, like living lives with people, living lives in circles, and in a business, um, content, building content, running a business, doing the books, being the customer face, whatever the business is. There's a lot of aspects to running a good business and being a leader of the business, and it's an awesome idea to bring someone along and build someone up that could take over that chunk of business, whatever that is, whether it's the books, whether it's content creation, whatever we're talking about here. And so not only are you would also help someone, but like there's something about being able to teach someone something that will help solidify what's inside you. And so that, um, there's something about teaching something that helps solidify something in you. And it's mutual beneficial. It's something that helps you out, and it's also you're helping someone grow, and you help someone eventually give the reins over to that particular responsibility, whatever we're talking about. So I love
Yeah.
that point about bringing someone along and eventually, like, I mean, kind of, I wouldn't say building a replacement, but maybe depending on the situation. But
Yeah.
it's definitely a mutual benefit for both parties, no doubt.
Yeah, and building a replacement isn't bad. It doesn't mean
Absolutely
you're
not.
out. It's like that now you have room to expand and grow because now whatever you were doing, someone else steps in and does that. Now it's like now you've got the capacity to expand and grow. Like we're trying to expand and grow, but you don't have you're trying to expand and grow and you don't even have the capacity to do what you're doing right now.
Yeah,
That's a whole different episode. That's
it
a whole
is.
different soapbox I can
One
get on, but
one more comment on that. Like, I remember, it was someone told me that the best type of employee is the one that's trying to work himself out of a job, because why wouldn't you put that employee somewhere else and have him or that person, he or she, do that somewhere else, and or make it where it's such a well oiled machine that you can just kind of build that team up to where that you can build a team up somewhere else, and now that team is amazing. Like, that's being replaced is not necessarily a bad thing at all. Now, if you're being
yeah,
replaced for bad reasons, sure, but if you're
yeah,
being replaced because you nailed it, then go nail it somewhere else. So
yeah,
yeah, that's a great
yeah.
concept for sure.
I love it. I love this conversation today. So many side conversations, so many other episode ideas that we have based on just this conversation. So we cannot wait to bring those to you. Listen, if you want to hop on a strategy call with us so you can make sure that you're leading with legacy, definitely send us a DM on Instagram. We want to connect with you. We want to help you do this. We are clearly passionate about this because there is a solution that you have to offer to the world, and that solution doesn't have to stop just because you pivot, expire, and move on. Like what you have is needed clearly, and we want to do everything we can to help you continue to make a difference in the lives of all of your clients and customers. And so make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Go back and watch all the replays and definitely connect with us today so we can help you elevate your brand, because together we
We
dream
dream
media.
media.